You're listening to Zap Night, a video game review podcast. Join your hosts as we review video games from all systems and all genres. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zap Night. I'm your host, Danny.
I'm your co-host, Kaylie.
This is episode 71, and we are talking about Stardew Valley.
Yay!
What is your experience of Stardew Valley before we started playing for the podcast?
I played roughly the same amount beforehand as I played this time.
Oh, really?
I think I might have gotten a little bit farther in my last game, but I think I've gotten about the same amount, like quality-wise, because I had already played it beforehand, I think, but...
Sure. I haven't played it at all. I've known about it for a while, obviously. You've told me about it.
Yeah.
And we've talked about doing it for the podcast for quite a while, maybe a year or so.
About a year.
But it's been out for quite a while. It was developed by Concerned Ape. It was released on the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One in 2016, and then in 2017 it was released on the Switch, and then iOS got it in 2018, and Android got it in 2019. And these have been iterations of digital copies, physical copies, Steam, all types of releases for this game. And it's, as far as I can tell, it's been very well received. I think a lot of people have really liked the game. They're still making major updates for it.
Yeah.
I think they're coming out with a new update for it soon.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they're in the midst of releasing a major update for it. So I don't know any details about it. I just have heard people talking about, you know, this can't wait for the update.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's, you know, they're still working on this game, and that's what's cool. And I don't feel like the updates they're making to it are pieces that should have been in the main game to begin with. I feel like it's pieces that they're just adding to
make it better.
Yeah, to
Extra.
make your experience more.
You've reached so far in the game. Here's more content,
which is very different to how other games have been doing it, such as Animal Crossing or like Final Fantasy.
Stuff that should have been in the game. Like this is more like, well, now you have more dialogue with characters. Now here's a new dungeon. Now here's this, and instead of just
that's the way they should be doing it. But what's cool is these are all free updates.
Right.
There isn't any DLC that I've seen, so you know that's a really cool aspect to it. As far as story goes, there's very little. The intro is you are a worker at this Joja Mart, who is essentially the Walmart, and they have completely taken over everything, and they are industrializing the world or the city or something, and your character is a worker at Joja Mart, and he or she gets a letter from their grandpa saying that they have
left you their farm, basically.
Left you their entire farm, and that and you're sick of this city life, and you move out to the farm, and the farm is in Stardew Valley, and you show up at the farm. You pretty much have full range of this overgrown farm, as these games typically do, and your goal is to just maintain the farm and build relationships with the people and
do Harvest Moon things.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
It's a glorified Harvest Moon.
Well, I mean, it really is, and I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong.
I believe the way I understand it is the creators wanted to make what they wanted from Harvest Moon.
They definitely took inspiration from the Harvest Moon series. It's, almost too close.
It is a farming simulator. Yes.
Well, yeah, but
dating simulator. Farming dating simulator.
And see, that's the thing, though, is that it's so similar to Harvest Moon that it's like borderline copyright. Like, you have the fatigue system is in place. You have, this very similar farming mechanics. as far as you can kind of only water one plot at a time, and you can upgrade it, but the upgrades cost you stuff, and very, very similar aspects to Harvest Moon.
Well, it's definitely like the basic structure is absolutely like the backbone of Harvest Moon.
Right.
But then they went and improved upon it, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because now you can do fishing and
it's definitely a much more mature Harvest Moon.
Sure.
I like it because it makes me feel like it's a Harvest Moon for me as an adult. You have more like adult themes, I guess.
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah.
But yeah.
Story-wise, though, now that you're in the farm, you pretty much have full reign. You can do whatever you want. There is no like definite way to go about your time that you play. And you have a lot of NPCs that are in the town, and you can gain friendship with those NPCs, and you can get little dialogue moments, and you can get cutscenes with different characters and with the environment. And then also each season they have a few different events that are included in there as well, and you can learn bits and pieces about each of the village, the little town that you're in. You can learn about all of the NPCs and get to know their relationships with each other, not just with you.
Right.
And I mean, when you start off, everyone hates you out of the gate. And that was my biggest hurdle that I had to deal with in my game, is that when I came into this town, everyone hated me. And there was no rhyme or reason for it. They were just straight up rude all the time. So it made me not want to engage with anyone. So that was tough.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, for me, Emily was kind of she was the only one who I was the most friends with.
Right.
Had we played this a little longer, I probably would have ended up marrying her or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of interesting because I wasn't like aiming for Emily, but
that's just how it naturally
it did.
occurred.
Like next thing I know, I'm doing this like cutscene with Emily where she's I'm in her dreams.
Oh,
and then she invites me into her room. Oh no, she actually invited me into her room before that. It must have been when I got to like
so many hearts,
two hearts or 3 hearts or something. Because she invited me into her room. No, she dropped off some cloth. And she said, if you want to use my sewing machine, you can. And I'm like, okay, that's whatever. And then I walked into her house one day, and then there was this cutscene where I was in her dreams, and then she came out and she saw this like bird flying through the air, and then she like caught it and took it inside to, I don't know, whatever. So, yeah, so and now we're married.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
I think I got 2 characters maxed out on hearts.
Man.
Well, without marrying them.
Sure.
I had 1 character was 1 heart away, and then I was working on mostly just the boy, like all the bachelors, and that was pretty much it. Like, I didn't focus on the like non-marryable characters or the girls or anything. I just kind of focused on what I knew, which I knew the first half of the characters of the bachelors, and then I slowly worked on the rest of them. But so I got a little farther, I think. I don't know, I feel like I worked pretty hard on it.
What cutscenes? Well, I guess you probably got a lot more because you were more hearts through. But the only other cutscene that I got that I really enjoyed was Abigail's. She had this cutscene.
Oh, I know what you're talking
where
about.
she's playing a video game and she's having trouble with the first level, and she wants you to play it with her. So then you and Abigail are playing the first level, and it's just really cute. It's like, oh, this is fun.
If you get so many hearts with Sebastian, you actually play like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game.
Oh, that's cool.
And you get to like choose what you decide to do and stuff, and you can have options whether you win the game and stuff, and that's pretty cool too.
Is there anybody in town that you hated?
That I hated? I honestly didn't like Emily. I know you hated Pam.
I hated Pam.
Pam, but
mainly because she couldn't keep up with her yard.
I didn't like Harvey. I wanted to like him. He was the doctor.
Oh.
And like his sprite to me looked more nerdy than his actual character profile. And he was so freaking gloomy and just complaining. I don't have enough patience. I'm not gonna make enough money. And I get it. I get that's what the story arc was going for, but like it was more like he was just a Debbie Downer the whole time. I was like, which I guess at the same time, there's Shane, who's a straight up alcoholic, but which was just some cringe in there too. But
Shane was my like number one hate. Like it didn't start off that way, but like everything that I tried to give him just casually, he was like, ugh, this is trash. Like, why would you give me this garbage? So then I got ticked off at him and I literally started giving him garbage. So I'm like, you know what? If you don't like it, yeah, you're right. It is garbage. So now you have to take my garbage.
My past game, I focused on Shane, Sebastian, and Sam. And this time I was kind of more focused on Elliot, which I know you also hated.
Fabio.
Fabio.
That hair, man. The hair, and then he just like lives on the beach like a bum, and yeah.
About the story, we also need to talk about the Junimos.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Junimos were just the little, like, sprites.
The little chiclets.
From what I read in the game, they're sprites that take over,
like an
houses that are unoccupied, but they also have to have some sort of crystal or something in the house for them to make a camp in or something.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was something that I read in the library. And in any case, they help in the game that you play. They are specifically in the
community
center, and as you help them collect materials and stuff, they will fix up the community center and restore it back to its former glory.
Well, and stuff throughout the town too.
Right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like the minecarts, which was so convenient.
Yeah, I know. I know that happened, and I'm like, oh, this just takes me around town. This is fantastic. I thought it was just going to be like, now you can use the minecart. You can use this minecart to go to this mine, and you can use a different minecart to go to another mine. Not like, this will just get you around town. I don't know which I would have preferred, but that's later. But yeah, the Junimos were really cute. I liked cheering them on whenever you completed one of the like boxes.
They would
carry the little jelly bean on top of their heads and carry it to their little hut, and then they'd throw it in their hut. And the whole way, I'd be like, "Yeah, you got this!" It's so cute. And then after you complete an entire tablet, they
like a bundle.
Yeah, they'll bring out a little star. And then they'll throw it on the wall for you, but then they kind of like follow you around for a little while, and that's super cute. Like they're
really cute.
I want them to follow me around indefinitely.
They have little plushies of them.
I know.
I kind of want to get some. But yeah, I guess if you fix up the community center, it turns. Assuming you didn't buy the like Joja membership, it makes the Joja Mart shut down, and you can turn it into a movie theater.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool. Yeah, I didn't get super far in the community center. I'd say maybe half.
Oh, really? You got fairly far then.
I'd say I unlocked 2 stars, and I think the rest of the tablets that I needed were a little over half done. So I feel like I was roughly halfway through all of them. Maybe another year's worth, I probably would have made it. Speaking of, how far did you get?
I did not even get to the next spring. I'm like in the last half of winter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I made it through a full year, and then I made it to the next spring. I think in my game it's currently like spring day 15 year 2 or something like that. So it's up there.
What'd you name your farm?
Hamster.
That's right.
Hamster farm, yeah.
Mine was Bidoof Farm.
Nice.
And all my chickens and my ducks were named Bidoof. Or some like oof variant. If I ran out, if there was too many Bidoofs, they would have an extra O. And I think the only thing I didn't name Bidoof, because I named my cat Bidoof too. I named my pony Ponyta.
Nice. I had I had 4 chickens, a cow, a horse, and a cat.
Oh, wow.
My 4 chickens, there was a Debbie.
A Debbie?
There was...
Deborah?
There was a Debbie, there was a Chocobo, there was a Hey Ya, like the song. And I can't remember the last one. But then we had 2 cows. We named one Oreo and the other one Phoenix. And then the horse's name... What was the
Start with a
horse's
G?
name?
Oh, it was, Fred?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
I said Steve.
Yeah, you're right.
Steve?
It was Fred. Because I wanted to name him the Awesome Fred,
Yeah.
but I think I just... Or Amazing Fred.
It came out the Amazing F.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, we'll just name it Amazing Fred. But then the cat's name was Couch, and that was probably the most adorable. And that was your...
Yeah.
That was your suggestion.
We'll name him Couch. What? All right.
That was great.
We drew a picture of Couch on a couch with a little tiny stuffed couch.
It just
Couchception.
It was so cute to have him like laying in the middle of the field.
There's the
like
couch.
there's the couch in the middle of the field.
It was so silly but so cute.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, that was fun.
I mean, I can't really think of any like story aspects to anything.
I realize that we're reviewing this on our personal experience. I do know from past experience before this, though, that, like, we really have only scratched the surface of this entire game. So that's kind of heartening to know, like, the story. There's more to the story. There's more to the gameplay. There's more to the music.
Right.
So.
And full disclosure, typically we play games from beginning to end. We by no means are aiming to 100% these games. It's really just to get the experience of this game in. And because this game doesn't have a definitive end, it's really just an ongoing thing. You could potentially unlock everything and complete every task and get all the hearts to have a complete end, but we
just played a month.
Yeah, we just wanted to play our traditional month. It ended up being more like a month and a half because we started like mid-September.
Well, we finished Final Fantasy VIII early because it needed an extra. Well, it really only needed an extra like week and a half.
Right.
But,
so we started about mid-September, and so we've been playing for a little over a month. And this is our experience of it. By no means is it a complete game. I think I could still pick this up on days that I'm not playing on streaming or whatever, and just kind of poke around and keep playing a little bit.
It's nice. I play like a day before bed or something like that.
Yeah, and see what's cool about the game is that you don't have to to play one day is only like maybe 20 minutes. Or like, I don't know, I didn't time it, but it's something in there. It's not very long, but it's enough. It's enough to feel like, oh, I did something in my game.
Right.
You wake up and you do your crops and you do your chickens and you do a few things around town and then that's it. But yeah, so from our experience, this is what we're talking about. But in any case, story specifically, I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Oh. Oh no, I gave it a 7. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong score. I'm like, I gave it a 9. No, I gave it a 7.
It goes back to they don't give you any story. They give you very little story up front. There's enough to go off of, but not enough to make it like we need to finish the story. It's just
a simulator. You're there for the experience. You kind of make your own, and you make of it.
You do your thing. Yeah.
This is just the nature of this kind of a game, and. They have the beginning of the story. You make your own story. It could be different experience every time.
I wish that they had more of an interactive story with each NPC, where I really feel like the NPC scenes that you get are just standard static cutscenes that they just throw your character into. Like, you don't really have any dialogue. You don't really have any say on what happens in these little cutscenes. It's just like there.
Some of the cutscenes, you have a choice of how you respond, and it does impact whether you have a positive feedback, a neutral feedback, or negative feedback, which gauges your hearts with them. And I mean, they're all scripted, obviously, but
But I just feel like if, for example, my relationship with Emily, I feel like I would be more engaged if, once you made it to a certain, and maybe this is the case because I didn't get very far, but when I hit, so many hearts, then, I might see her wandering around on my farm once in a while, or, she'll stop by more often.
That would be nice.
I mean, I did have her stop by once to drop off some clothes, it's
here's some clothes.
It's like,
oh, work shirt.
Cool. Yeah. Exactly. So, I mean, from that perspective, it was like, it was kind of boring in the story side. Now, if you were fishing for the story, there is stuff going on with like the Joja Mart and the little sprite guys, and
definitely
there's relationships within the NPCs themselves that you can explore too. So, there is story to be told, but I think
you really have to be communicating with the town and be on a better terms, because like the more hearts you gain, the dialogue changes and you kind of learn.
Oh, because, you mean Abigail doesn't always want to eat whatever you give her?
Well, like some of the characters, like technically the way I believe it's supposed to be stood up was just kind of like a Harvest Moon game. You have a rival to that character so like Sebastian and Abigail, I think, are actually supposed to be a love interest unless you decide to go for one or the other. And there's kind of like little hints dropped about who they kind of have a crush on and just kind of stuff like that. But you gotta be talking with your townspeople to get that story.
Well, and this is the other part that I had problems with, is that my townspeople hated me from the beginning. And it's like you talk to them, and just talking to them, like on day one, if you go around and you talk to them,
they're just kind of like,
well, half of them told me, why are you talking to me? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I'm brand new. If I walked into, a new school or a new job and started walking around and talking to people and they were like, why are you talking to me? I'd be like, screw this place. I'm done.
There is a few, I believe it's Shane, that after a while he apologized. Sorry, I was so rude before, blah, 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 blah. But I agree, there shouldn't be. Although it isn't everyone. There are a few friendlier
people. There's a few, but...
George, the wheelchair guy?
Yeah, well, I mean,
he was a grumpy old man.
He's supposed to be the grumpy old man. And from that perspective, I actually kind of liked him for that. But, like, Shane, and the way that they deal with not liking the items, where they'll still take it from you, but then they'll like give you crap about it. It's like, are you serious?
Oh, I hate this trash.
I hate this diamond. I'll keep it, but I hate it. Like, dude, okay, well, you can at least give it back so I can sell it. Like, come on. It's so, I don't know, it's just mean.
Yeah.
But it adds to the drama of the...
This is a very dramatic game. Farming is so,
I know. Well, let's talk about the graphics.
It's all in the subtle details.
It really is, yeah. It really is. I gave it an 8.
I gave it a 9.
Okay.
I loved their work with the sprites. The little stuff. I thought the pony was adorable. It was so cute. I dare say it was the cutest of all of them.
I feel like...
I do like Couch, though. The Couch was pretty cute.
I feel like they did a really good job in the amount of content there is, but as like a quality, like everything, because it's all in this like pixel style, and it's supposed to be reminiscent of like an old RPG or like the Super Nintendo era, and I feel like the detailing on the pixel art specifically was minimal.
Really?
Like I felt like it could have been better. It could have been a little bit more detailed, but it didn't like detract. Like you knew what it was. Like you got I had the trash can hat. The trash can lid hat. And I knew exactly what it was. Like, you put it on, you can tell it's a trash can lid. Like, that's what it looks like, because that's what it is. But you look at stuff like when you get the skeleton hand, it's just like
it looked
gray
like
pixels.
It looked like a foil swan that you take home leftovers in.
Yeah. It's just like...
There were a few things that were like, what is that?
Yeah.
But, like, I thought all of the rocks and the donatable stuff, like, a few of those were pretty cool looking.
Oh, yeah. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them do look really good. or, you know, even their simplistic style is fine. It didn't detract necessarily. It's just there were some things that looked like they weren't quite as detailed as they probably could have been.
I agree to an extent. I still feel like there was quite a bit of quality. I feel like the quality was good, and I feel like there was a lot. There was quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And we didn't even get to the other mines or to like the sand. Or you fixed the bus, I believe. You get to go to the oasis and just stuff like that.
Well, and that leads to another part is the monsters and the dungeons and
quite a few the slimes,
the weaponry that you can collect along the way. Some of the monsters do like magic spells and stuff. Yeah. So it's like, you know,
I kind of liked some of those monsters. They're pretty cool.
And they didn't repeat too much. The slimes are probably one of the biggest offenders of repeating.
I kind of understand the slime thing.
They're kind of
they
like
reflected the levels throughout the mine. And then the bats were reused in color. But like your skeletons were all there was a few different skeletons.
There was a few different skeletons, but they were all unique, more or less. And at least in the first mine that you have access to, they changed every 10 levels. And so every 10 levels, it was almost like a completely different area. So,
you get like dragons and stuff, and like one of the other mines is pretty cool. The ones we didn't get to. There's some pretty cool ones out there, and the difficulty level can get kind of intense.
I believe it.
I liked the little Easter eggs.
Chrono in Abigail's room.
Yep. Even the Chrono, you can have Chrono hair. Like you get to. I feel like the customization on your characters, it was nice that was an option, because like, especially comparing to Harvest Moon, there really is none. Well, from the newer games maybe, but the older ones no. But here you got to choose like clothes and hairstyle, and you could change it later on, and that was kind of nice.
Yeah, I liked that.
You could have Chrono hair.
I really liked all the throwback stuff to Chrono Trigger.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of sound effects and weaponry and music even.
Oh yeah, the music
very
was
reminiscent.
So...
You could tell that Chrono Trigger was a big
Chrono Cross
influence of
I was hitting Chrono Cross notes for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess going back to the slimes, I wanted to say that I felt like they were trying to make slimes to be like a mascot of sorts. Kind of like the opposite to the little sprite guys, the Jinjos or whatever.
The Junimos.
So I think that's where they were going with the slimes, which is why they were kind of everywhere. But otherwise, a lot of the monsters were fairly unique to their like level set.
Did you have a favorite
monster?
Mm-hmm. Squid Kid. I thought that was the dumbest name for that character. There's
like blob that spit fire.
It was like a naked sun. You have an actual like task to like go kill one or two in the mines, and and their name is Squid Kid, and you're like, who?
What is that? Yeah. There was the one like masked.
Oh, the like shoots stuff at you.
Yeah, I didn't understand what it was doing. Like it had this like green circle that shot out, and then it would like charge something and then shoot at you. But like it would hit you and not necessarily do damage unless it was doing like a poison type effect, but it was a different type of poison than the slime. So I don't know what
there's a few different things it would do.
And it would like heal itself sometimes, and it's like I don't know. It was weird. I think maybe the skull heads were my favorite, mainly because they had a chance to drop the rice.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was farming them for a while. When I first encountered them, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are these things? And then I started fighting them, and they're difficult to kill, at least from my perspective in the game. But after a little while, you get used to their battle style, and then you just knock them out, and you get, your rice, and then you move on. Yep. What else do I have for graphics?
Animals?
Lots of unique items. Oh, the character thumbnails.
Oh yeah, those are pretty good.
Every character NPC had their own like picture when they talked.
I hated Harvey's.
Oh,
I know, really? I didn't hate his character's pixel. It didn't match his sprite to me.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't And Elliot was kind of like that too, but Harvey's drove me nuts, like the most.
I didn't really like Fabio's. He just was overly
Fabio.
Yeah,
Fabio.
But that's what I didn't like about him. Like otherwise, all of the portraits looked really good. Like I liked the art style that they had incorporated in it.
You get a few little extra details. There's a scene with Shane where he actually tends to his aunt's chickens. And he actually picks one up and holds it. And then his portrait shows him like snuggling with this happy chicken.
Cute.
It is really cute. So little stuff like, again, little details that it's like, ah. I loved when I chopped trees. I loved that. The sound effects for one thing too, but like when it dropped a whole bunch of little stuff and it just into your character.
Yeah, like
satisfying.
Explodes. Like the tree would actually fall, and then when it hit the ground, it just explodes in like little pieces of wood and stuff. And then after it sits for a second, your character absorbs it all.
Yeah,
and it is really
like
satisfying.
A satisfying sound.
Same with the way you harvest stone and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I loved that sound effect. And it's like
I know.
I could do this all day. I do.
But let's we'll just move straight into gameplay as if we haven't really been talking about it this whole time. I like that there's so many aspects to this game, even though some of them are quite boring. Like, okay, you have the typical farming thing. And that's very standard. You buy seeds, you grow plants, you grow trees, you gotta clear your land, you gotta farm your land, you gotta keep up with it, you gotta water it, all that good stuff. Then you have the dating sim aspect where you have to maintain a relationship with certain people and, try and give them gifts to make them like you more, and you gotta, figure out who likes which gifts, and then you can focus on that. That's, its own thing, really.
The Monster Hunter.
The monsters. What was that building called?
I forget. The Guild.
Yeah,
something.
The Guild. Yeah, that's it. The Adventurer Guild.
Yeah.
Where you essentially are
a monster hunter.
Yeah, and they give you rewards depending on how many of certain kinds of monsters that you've beaten. There is the mining as a whole. Like the monster hunting is one part, but then there's mining too, which is just collecting materials and finding rare gems and that stuff. There's the fishing, which, you get different fishing rods, you get different fishing lures, you get different fishing bait. There's different types of fish that you can only get with like the crab pots.
Did you do stuff with the wizard?
I met with him a few times, but he never really gave me like tasks.
There's some stuff to unlock with him that are pretty cool. But like you unlocked Krobus, I believe, like in the sewers, the little like monster guy who sells you stuff.
I don't think you have to unlock him, do you?
I believe so. Yeah, you can't just go in there. You have to get the key or something.
But I can't remember where I got the key. Now that I think
you should have gotten it from Gunther through the library.
Oh yeah, that's
Gunther.
Yeah,
the like old timey cowboy. I don't know. It looks really weird.
Yeah, he looks like a cosplayer,
like a 70s cowboy.
That's one way to put it.
I don't know.
He kind of looked like he was trying to be.
He was trying too hard.
What? Orlando Bloom or whatever. What's his name in Pirates of the Caribbean? At the very end with like the super fancy hat.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What is his name? I don't know that actor's name.
It is Orlando Bloom, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about Jack Sparrow?
No.
His character?
No, Orlando Bloom, if that's who it is.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't being too much of an idiot.
Right. I respect.
In any case, so you get that rusty key and then you can go into the sewer, and that's where that like shadow guy is. And but there's another like crack on the side where it's blocked off by magic. There's a magic wall here, and I didn't know what to do with that, so I just let it go. I feel like that was kind of my next thing to do, but I had another key from the very bottom of the mines, and I didn't know what to do with that either.
It's
like
for
a
the
dragon
other
key or something.
It's for the other mine that we didn't get to yet. But that's kind of what I liked about this game. There's just more to unlock. It kept giving. That's what I loved about it. It just kept giving. Because like after a while, things start getting boring. But then you unlock stuff. Like it's very rewarding unlocking the bundles. Because not only do you get stuff, but it kind of unlocks things just a little bit further, and it opens up more and opens up more. It's like, oh, there's more to this game.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you get updates, free updates to this game, and legitimate good updates, not just here's the missing piece of information that we purposely didn't include with this game.
That
pay
you now
us
have to pay for.
I liked that you got new dialogue depending on if you lost hearts or if you gained hearts with your characters. It's nice to unlock the cutscenes, but that's typical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did not like some things could have been improved. I got bored with the crab pots. I made a whole bunch and I would set them out every day, and I would think like maybe I would occasionally get something rare in there or like an item or something, but instead I just either got trash or the same crab, lobsters, and it was the same stuff. And I felt kind of disappointed that I would go there religiously checking things and switching them out. I couldn't move my house or my greenhouse. I wanted to make my layout better and I couldn't. That was kind of...
Does that change every time you start a new farm? Does your house placement change?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure no, because mine was in the same spot. But you can choose like where your farm is next time in a different location. But I believe you and I both started in the standard place.
Right.
I had glitches.
Really?
And I do kind of vaguely remember having like a little bit of skips, but I did have this ice fishing thing where it was an ice fishing event and you're supposed to go fishing, and I cast my line and my character got stuck. Could not get her out of place. It's like her hair was facing one way, like she was supposed to turn, but the rod was stuck. It was weird.
Yeah, you're showing me a video here. Yeah, it's really weird. That's really bizarre.
And I was playing on the Switch. I do seem to recall having a little bit of issues when I played last time, but I was playing on the computer. I did find a typo in one of them, and yeah, I would be walking and like the game would just stop for a second, and then it would like all of a sudden I would be 5 frames ahead without seeing the actual...
I had that too.
I had it quite a bit, actually.
Yeah. I noticed that I had some freezing. So I played both the digital version and the physical version of the Switch edition. And on the digital side, I felt like it loaded pretty quick and things ran pretty well, but every now and then I get like a hiccup.
Yeah.
And that was mainly as soon as I was entering the farm area, like I think it was trying to load all those assets in the farm. All the like
there's all the weeds
and all the trees and all the like seeds and all that crap. But then I switched to the physical version and it took significantly longer to load. Plus, I was getting those like lag.
Yeah.
They were different than the lag that I was getting in the digital version. They were like moments of like frozen frame and then it would move on. Yep. And I don't know what was causing that. Like it would happen literally randomly. Right, I could go days, like in-game days without seeing it, and then all of a sudden it'll just happen. Or I could go an entire stream, which is typically about 3 hours, not see it once. And then the next time I might see it 2 or 3 times. So it was really weird.
I also felt like it was a little easy to make mistakes. Not like mistakes like I threw away my obsidian sword.
I had that too. Or are you talking about
No,
me?
I legit threw mine away too. I had to restart my game.
Yeah, I had that a couple times where I accidentally threw stuff away.
You eat stuff while you're collecting crops.
Yes.
Instead of gifting it to someone because you're just not 1 pixel closer, you eat it. And so, like, here, do you want this?
I hope you didn't want this egg that I'm about to eat.
I'm going to drink this beer in front of you and make eye contact. Which, by the way, while I was courting Shane, dude is a straight up alcoholic. You go through alcoholic cutscenes and everything. He finally gets help, and you still give him beer. Like, here, I'm glad you're recovering. Here's a beer.
You would think that they would have changed that for Shane. Like,
that would have been
if he's
smart.
going through a recovery session, that he no longer likes beer.
Yes,
Instead,
now he
you
dislikes
have to give
it.
him something else.
He likes wine.
Much different.
You know, that would have been like coffee. Like, instead of beer, now he hates beer and he loves coffee or something. Something silly like that. It would have made it a little more
realistic.
Different. Yeah. Although, that's kind of what I liked about Shane. As gross as I know you felt about Shane, I liked that he was an alcoholic. It just had some more realism to the, like, that's why I meant, like, a more mature audience. It just was more. And Sebastian smokes. Did you ever see him on a smoke break?
Yeah.
You could see the little pixel cigar.
Yep.
I thought that was cute.
I thought Abigail was really funny because
Stinky Abigail.
She's like a little piggy. If you've ever walked into their house, because she lives with the owner of the store. So when you walk into their house, half the time she's staring at the fridge. And she will sit there for a long time just staring at the fridge. And hashtag relatable.
Right.
Like, seriously, I understand. I've done this. And whenever you give her something that she likes, she goes, how did you know I was hungry? And I'm like, this is an amethyst. Like,
why are you eating this? You give her a flower to eat.
Well, I was giving her mayonnaise because I thought it was really funny for her to be like, how did you know I was hungry? I'm like, here's a spoon,
Nom,
baby.
nom, nom.
Have at it.
There was a moment in one of your streams where you were, what was it with the mayonnaise maker? Were you trying to put iron in your mayonnaise maker or something?
No, I didn't have a mayonnaise maker. I was needing to make iron. I was needing to cook my
You're trying to smelt
my metals.
Your metals.
And so I was trying to make a new smelter. And I kept going to the mayonnaise maker, and I'm like, why isn't this working? And then I look, and I'm like, oh, this is a mayonnaise maker. Like, I don't even need this.
We kept that joke running. I beat that joke like a dead horse. It was so funny. And for some reason, Abigail, I have nothing wrong with Abigail. I don't dislike her. But when I see Abigail, she reminds me of the girl, like a girl that you would see in person that looks well kept together, like they probably shower, but they smell suspicious, like a
like
body
a little
odor.
Too strong
Something,
like
something's wrong.
BO and lilacs.
So yes, exactly. Like she masks it with her lilac perfume, so she doesn't have to shower. And that's what I imagine if I was. She would stay. I don't know why, but that she seems like she would be stinky.
She is awfully hungry. So maybe she just spends too much time staring into her fridge than she does in the bath.
Actually, what she reminds me of is, when you go to a concert and everyone's all kind of dressed up, but they smell like BO because we're at a concert. That's what I imagine she smells like.
Yeah, probably like a concert.
And we always were making fun of, like, I smell you, Abigail. Always making jokes.
You walk by Abigail like,
who is that?
Oh, that was Abigail. Yeah.
We've been making jokes like that in real life. We want to get together and like, must be Abigail. Stinky Abby. But yes, moving on, I gave gameplay an 8 out of 10.
I did too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I think the hardest part that I had was starting out, because you don't really, like, you kind of have an understanding of your goals, but you don't really understand how to get there. And it takes so much time to build that understanding of how to lay out your farm and what you need to build.
It definitely needs time. Like, you had the luxury of having people help you through the stream.
Right, yeah.
I had to look up most of mine.
And I probably would too if I was just playing on my own.
Right.
Had I not been streaming and having people in there who knew what they were doing to kind of give me tips, I would have just looked it up. Because, why wouldn't you?
And see, that's why I like this game. It's more than just Harvest Moon, which really holds your hand through everything, but I don't know, you definitely are more in control of your day. Like, you really have to delegate how you spend your time.
That's exactly true. Yeah, they really leave it upon you to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
and they leave it upon you to do the research on, you know, like you can collect books, and when you collect books, you can go to the library and read them. They don't force you to.
Right.
They're just there. Once you collect the books, it's your choice to go to the library and read them. And if you do, you get tips and tricks on how the game mechanics work and a little bit of the lore of the land, like why it's called Stardew Valley.
Right.
They had that one, something about a star that they saw only during the Christmas time, but it was only seen in the valley and nowhere else. So people would flock to the valley to see this star. And then they thought that the star fruit or whatever was somehow related to the star that they could see. I don't know, whatever. You get what I mean. Yeah. But like, if you want that, you have to hunt for that. They're not going to hold your hand and feed it to you. And I think that relates back to the story aspect as well. Like, if you want this, if you want story, you can absolutely hunt it. But from like a casual point of view, you're not going to get a whole lot. What you're going to get is what you want out of this
what you
game.
Put into it, yeah.
Exactly. What you put into it.
And that's nice, because for some people, they might just want to do chores all day.
Yeah.
But like,
and
mining...
there's something therapeutic about that.
Mining, to me, a lot more fun than fishing. I did fishing, too.
The fishing was boring.
But you had that option. Or if you wanted to go foraging, or if you wanted to do... So it was nice just to have options, and that you didn't have to do that.
Right, and if you weren't very good at fighting monsters, don't fight monsters. Go fishing instead.
My first gameplay, I had a terrible time with the fishing mechanics. I am so much better now, for whatever. Maybe it's because of the Switch. I don't know.
When I first started playing too, it was a hassle.
Yes.
And once you understood what you were doing and you kind of got a handle on it, it gets easier. But the funny thing is the more you level up, the easier fishing gets. But from the beginning, fishing is insanely difficult, which kind of goes back to a problem that I had with this game as a whole. From the beginning, the very beginning of the game, it kind of deters you away from wanting to play. And I had that problem when I first started playing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who these people are. They all hate me. And on top of that, the fishing's really hard, which is kind of your only source of income when you're first starting off. And like, the monsters are kind of difficult to be able to keep up with. So it's like, the game is really hard your first like couple seasons. By the time you make it to like fall, I feel like things are better, and you can get way more into it and really enjoy it, because I didn't really start enjoying it until I hit like fall.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh yeah, I get where this is going. I understand what I'm doing now. I can kind of handle my own without needing someone to help me with it.
I will say, though, the nice thing about the fishing anyway, I believe that my last playthrough, I did it on minimal fishing. Like, I met the fishing bundle, because you can find the fish in the trash. You can find them, you get them as gifts. Some of the stuff is a crab pot, which is easy. And again, you can even find crab in the mines.
Yeah,
so it's nice that the stuff that you have to acquire, it takes time and like invested time, but you can eventually get those. Like,
without
the game kind of helps you. If you suck at this, the game makes it like, well, you could it'll take you longer, but you might still be able to get the stuff if you're bad at fishing. Is what I'm saying. Something through those lines.
Yeah, I get that. There's not enough mining. I mean, since there's another mine, that's good to know. But like, we made it to the end of the mine, and I'm like, now what?
Yeah, until I unlock the boss, I would just go to the mines to get diamonds or meet a requirement. It is a little boring. I feel like maybe they should have made unlocking the oasis a little easier, maybe. But maybe it's just I didn't delegate my time right. I don't know.
Like they should have had the mines be a little more random.
Yeah, that is
like
nice.
I feel like the mines are what they are. Like, what is it? 100 levels or something like that. 120.
Yeah.
And each level of the mine is exactly the same as like level 76 is always going to be the same layout. The monsters spawn randomly, and the rocks and the minerals and the ore and all that spawns randomly. But otherwise, like, if you've gotten a special, there is no special items to collect, like the iron or the carts. the mine carts and the bags, once you open those, they're open.
Right.
And like
Absolutely.
getting coal is a pain in the butt. The random drops for coal is few and far between.
Right.
The only way to really farm coal is to have the smoker thing.
The kiln or whatever.
Yeah, where you cook your wood into coal. And that's kind of even a hassle too.
So that's more of a stronger chore than even doing the farming stuff.
Right, but you can't really do much unless you have the coal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it a chore.
The only way to make one coal is to have 10 wood, and getting the wood takes so much energy. And it's like, this balance that you have to maintain. But, it's part of the strategy of the game. Like, you need to focus on that if you want to, have a healthy supply of
I wonder if you can buy coal. Can you buy coal?
I don't know.
At the blacksmith, maybe?
I never really
Because you can buy stone and wood at the carpenter.
I wonder. I don't know. I'd have to look. But yeah, I do wish that there was a little bit more to the mines.
What did you choose for your cave? You could either choose mushrooms or bats.
Mushrooms. I've
always chosen mushrooms. I hear it's the most profitable.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
I haven't ever seen it with the bats, so maybe I should have gone bats this time.
Jinx was telling me that the bats bring fruit to your cave, and it's very random if they bring fruit. Where the mushrooms are a little more like, if you check them every couple days, you're bound to have a full stock of mushrooms, and then you just sell them or eat them or whatever you want to do with them. But yeah, which is why it was per her suggestion that I chose mushrooms. So I'm like, well, I mean, if you say that it's mushrooms, then we're going with that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that pretty much covers everything that
There's quite a bit for gameplay. Positive, I feel like, for the most part.
Yeah. I can't say that, again, starting off is probably the hardest aspect of the whole game. Once you get going, it gets better. Well, and I would say that to somebody who may be listening to this and have never played it. Just force yourself to play it for a little while and try and make it through your first year. If you make it through your first year and you're like, this isn't for me, then it probably isn't for you. But if you can make it through your first year and, by then you should know if you want to invest more time into it. Music. I
loved it.
I struggled with this, and this is probably, we're going to differ a lot, but for the same reason. I really liked the music. And if the music was more constant, it would have gotten a bigger score. But because it played very seldom, I gave it a 7.
Oh.
Nothing to do with the music being bad or the sound effects being bad.
Wouldn't that fall under gameplay?
No. No. It's how frequent is their music? I mean, that's music. The music that was in there was really good. And every single time that it came up, it fit the mood of the game. But far too much was their silence. And I don't like that. It's fine if there's some, but have it smaller sections of silence instead of like, I'll go 20 minutes or so without any sound, and then a song will play for 5 minutes, and then we go another 20 minutes without any sound again. Like, it was just I
can't say I noticed. I feel like the only time I ever noticed music not playing was when it turned into night.
You might not have noticed because you're playing solo. And I feel like playing by yourself in your house, kind of, just sitting and chilling, you probably wouldn't notice. But for me streaming, those moments of silence, they're not awkward as much as they are, I feel like I need to fill that silence.
I see.
So I noticed it way more. And it bothered me. It bothered me a lot because the music is so good. And when it does play, it definitely enjoyable.
Wants you to have, but man, the music that we did get, mwah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what makes the silence even sadder.
I can see that.
Because you're looking forward to the music and you gotta wait 20 minutes to get it.
I give it a 10 out of 10. I had huge Chrono Cross vibes, little Chrono Trigger, but Chrono Cross, and that I loved Chrono Cross music. I loved it. There was a certain level in the cave that I really loved too, like this music specifically, but it was only like one of the first few levels.
And that you never go to again.
And I would always spawn to like level, like one of the higher levels to get the diamonds and stuff. So I never got to it, which sucked. But I loved that music. It was really good.
The sound effects were very satisfying. That thud for hitting a rock.
Yes.
Boom, boom. Like you could feel it.
Sound. Okay. Here's the thing. ASMR, not crazy about ASMR in general, but if I had something that hit my ASMR triggers, it would be stone. I love stone, like hitting each other. There's a certain stone sound that's just, it's so satisfying to me. Yeah, and that was it.
The pickaxe hitting the stone was really satisfying, but after the stone broke, it made this like rock clinking together sound that I also really liked.
That's what it was. Yeah. So satisfying. The trees cracking, hitting the ground, and then bubbling into your pockets, I guess. Yeah, there's quite a few different little sound effects. Hated the bats. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I get it, but
the bat sound is almost identical to the bat sound in Chrono Trigger.
Is it?
It is, yeah. It's almost identical to the sound in Chrono Trigger.
There's quite a few. I guess there was also... You get scarecrows in the game that scare off crows, which was a nice function, by the way. I forgot to add that to gameplay, I guess. You have to scare crows away, otherwise they eat your crops.
Yeah.
One of them is Turnip Head from Howl's Moving Castle. You got little sprites in the caves. There's a bear at one point, I believe, and he has like an umbrella. He's supposed to look like Totoro. There's just little Easter eggs like that I loved. I guess there's a lot more than that.
Did you do the bear side quest?
I didn't. I've seen it before, though.
Yeah, he sent you a letter saying that he wants you to bring maple syrup to the forest. So you go to the forest, and he's this like drunk bear, and he's just like... I can't remember the dialogue, so you'll have to forgive me, but it's something like, "Oh, thanks for bringing me this. Like, I really appreciate it." And the whole time, I'm just like, "What?" Like, this bear is just straight up talking to you, you know?
You're in the secret forest.
And then he's like, "Yeah," and I think he gives you something too, like, "Hey, I found this for you." And it's just, I don't know.
Thanks.
He felt like a drunk bear. Like, that's the vibe that I got from him, was this drunk bear. I don't know. It's funny.
That's funny. Yeah. The little things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty much it for music.
There's never really a whole lot to do with music. It's not like we can replicate it.
I know. Well, and it goes back to, like, for me, I would have given it a better score because I had no problems with the music that was in there. But I just don't like the silence, and it just bothered me far too much.
I didn't notice it, so I gave it a 10 out of 10, but that's fair. I can see that. I can see why that would bother some people.
Yeah. We should have talked about this more in the gameplay section too, but I really liked a lot of the seasonal events.
Yeah.
The egg hunt is really fun.
Yeah.
The spirit.
Oh yeah, like the Halloween-y type of
where you have to like do the little maze. That's really fun. They're the best one. I really liked the boats that come to the dock.
Oh, the market. Yeah,
the market.
The night market. That was pretty cool.
I really liked
that too.
The mermaid
yeah.
cutscene show. That was really cute.
How many times did you have to replay that one day?
Oh my gosh. The egg hunt.
Oh yeah.
It was the egg hunt day. And this was just the last stream that I did. So like I started up the game, and I missed the egg hunt. And the egg hunt, specifically, they sell strawberries at the egg hunt.
You had done something wrong the day before, hadn't you?
No, the first time I played, I missed the egg hunt altogether. So then I'm like, well, I'll restart it and do everything over again. So I restarted it, I did my crops, I did my chickens, I did some stuff. And then I went to the egg hunt, and I bought my strawberries, and I called it good. Well, at the end of the egg hunt, I go to plant my strawberries, and I realized that I only bought like
200.
Instead of buying 500, I bought 200. I'm like, how did I mess this up? So I replayed it again, and it seems like I did something else wrong.
Something in the cage, you lose something? Maybe did you die at one point?
I don't remember.
You don't actually die.
Like I started it like 3-4 times before I finally got it. It was very annoying.
It automatically saves at night, and which is nice because you don't have to save it. However, for one thing, you can't save halfway through the day. Like, you would have to put your Switch. Like, we were playing on the Switch, so I'd have to put my Switch in sleep mode. But if you passed out and woke up the next day in your house, it's saved that day. So if you didn't mean to pass out, it's too late.
Well, and there's a couple things that would kind of give you a problem. If you passed out outside of your home, they take money away. If you die in the caves or similar, if you die while you're out, you lose money, but also a handful of items. And the items are randomized which items you lose. So if you lose your, like, best sword, or if you lose, something important, all you can do is restart your day because it's gone.
I had a day I legit lost, I swear, with like 12 items. It was a long freaking list. I was like, oh no, I'm redoing this day.
I had the same problem because I had lost my
I swear I've lost that obsidian edge like a billion times.
I don't even
threw
use
it away.
Anymore. Yeah, I don't even use that anymore.
Oh really?
I have this dark sword. It has vampire energy or something.
Oh, did you buy it?
No, I didn't. I found it. Yeah, I think those skullhead guys drop it. But every time you attack, not
replenishes energy to you.
But you have a chance of gaining energy from the enemies that you attack. So yeah, basically I never really lose any health anymore. It's so nice. And the damage it deals is just as good as the obsidian sword. Cool. So, there's that.
I had to use the hammer for a while, which is pretty nice. I had a longer range of
I can't say I got a hammer.
You got a hammer, a nail bat, there was like a forest sword. There's a few cool ones. Yeah.
I was curious how much time you've spent in the game.
I believe it was 36 hours and 30 minutes.
Jeez, that's oddly specific to be.
That's because I just looked it up not that long ago.
Yeah, I'm pulling mine up to look at it.
It doesn't seem like it, but I mean, yeah, that seems about right for a full year's worth. It's like, I mean, to me, in my mind, a typical game is around the 30-hour, 40-hour range.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, that was how long we played. We played the game for the 30-ish days.
Yeah,
so.
And I'm in the 30s too. It's loading now, and the stinking physical edition takes so much longer to load than the digital edition. I don't know why.
Although I do seem to remember having problems with the digital, which was again a while ago. But it seems like it did actually take a while too. I don't know. Still upset about that typo.
What typo was it?
It was something silly. Like, it was at the very beginning. It was like maybe the word "it" or something. It was like TT or something. I might have actually taken a picture of it.
43 hours and 12 minutes was my time in it.
Yep, here. Took a
screen cap. Oh yeah.
TT apostrophe us.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the very beginning. I was like, Did you like decorating your house? Sorry, your museum storage room?
No, it was a
Was it Dick's Sporting Goods storage room?
No.
That's what it looked like. All like the bear statue and your antique museum.
It's an antique mall. Yeah, that's what it is. It's an antique store. my little home that I just kind of threw. Anything that I couldn't put in my yard, I put in there.
I upgraded my house so I had more room for some of that stuff. I was going
to, but I never really made it. It was like, I could upgrade my house, or I could get a barn, so I got a barn. And it was like, I could upgrade my house, or I could do something else. And it's like, I don't know. Upgrading my house was not that important to me, so I haven't done it. But I would like to get a cellar, so I can put, like, the wine, the brewing stuff down there, and, like, the mayonnaise stuff down there. I don't know.
Man, we could have put it in your chicken coop.
The mayonnaise stuff, really?
I think so, yeah. But you can put your treasure chests throughout the town. You have to be careful, because if an NPC walks in, it'll destroy it. But I looked, there's a map up online that someone had made of all the places where it was safe to put your treasure chest. So I put one by the mines, in front of people's houses, of all the stuff they want.
It's smart to do that, but
long term, if you're gonna do it long term, you would have no reason to do it.
Not really that. Just like the way that I was playing, like I'd rather have everything where I need it instead of being like, oh well, I need iron ore, but I've kept all my iron ore at the mines, so now I need to go to the mines.
I wouldn't keep what I would keep at the mines would be like extra food, or if I thought I was gonna die on the way home, pass out on the way home, I would put all my items in there and go home.
I don't think you lose items if you pass out.
I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
But like, if I collected a whole bunch of stuff on my way to the mines, I could dump it in there too, make room if I needed to.
It's an easy jump out, drop your stuff off, and go back down.
I was lazy. I would buy like pizza and beer for the characters that liked that stuff, and I would put it in their house, call it a day. Put here's a 5-day-old pizza sitting in this old hot treasure chest.
Don't worry about this. It's just being cooked by the sun. It's fine.
Here's some old hot beer.
So overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Oh my gosh, I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed it. I did, but it starts off really slow and it's really tough. The music I had some problems with. The townspeople hated me, and that drove me crazy too. Just like,
I feel like you had a terrible experience, and I did not think you would have this terrible experience. I had a very pleasant time, and I liked to imagine what my character would be saying to the characters I was interacting with, and I was having a good grand old time.
Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed the game that I played. It just, I don't know. I feel like I was handed a rough. I don't know.
These are not your favorite kinds of games, and I just like, after a long day of chores, I like to sit down and play a game of long chores. Long chores.
Do digital chores.
More chores.
Chores.
But I do like I like organizing. So like plotting out stuff and putting like frames of stone around my plots and my sprinklers.
I liked that. That was probably my favorite thing about this game, is that
planning.
Like, all winter long, I'm like, okay, how can I make next year better? I'm gonna buy. Instead of trying to upgrade to the best, the best sprinkler there is, I'm gonna buy a bunch of the better sprinklers and just fill my yard full of all these sprinklers, and then methodically plant around those plots. And then I have to make sure that I have room for my scarecrows because I don't want to lose any crops. And then I'm mapping all that out. I had this thing ready, like spring day 1 came, and I'm like, all right,
let's go.
Spring is on. Let's do this. I put all my sprinklers down. I had my field plowed. I had everything ready to go, but I just didn't have enough time in one day to plow my field. And I was able to plow my field and plant the seeds, but I couldn't water them. And if you don't water them that day, then they don't grow. You miss a day. So then I had to wait till the next day for the sprinklers to automatically water them.
Right.
There wasn't enough time in the day to do all of it. But yeah, so I was spring 1. I was excited.
You were invested.
And now, so what I did was, what was it? Cauliflower.
Yeah, I remember watching. I was waiting for you to collect that cauliflower. It wasn't ready yet. I'm like, oh my gosh, this needs to hurry.
Well, see, the thing is cauliflower takes 12 days to do, or 13 days to fully grow. And you get the strawberries on day 13. So what I wanted to do is have all the cauliflower growing so I didn't have to babysit it. Just have it done. And on day 13, I would collect all the cauliflower and replant the strawberries. Well, because I couldn't do the cauliflower that same day, I had to wait till the next day. So I bought all my cauliflower, planted it all down, and then when the egg hunt thing came, I bought all my strawberries, but I couldn't do anything with them until the next day. And then I collected all the cauliflower, laid down all the strawberries, and I was set. But yeah, again, if you're methodical like that and you enjoy those types of thinking and processing, this game is great because there's a lot of opportunities for that. You know, you can play a day and be like, you know, right before going to bed, like, could I have done this day better? Restart your day, do the whole thing over again, and then have, you know, lots of more time to spend doing other things because you've, you know, prioritized and done things better. You know, I don't know. It's silly.
Yeah, Stardew.
So yeah, I didn't have a terrible time playing it. It just, I feel like, I don't know, it's not. I like having a game that I can beat and that I can just enjoy all the way through.
Sure.
And I don't know.
For me,
wasn't there.
This is what I wanted out of Harvest Moon, and I like some Harvest Moons a lot. but this was nice. I loved this. If you like Harvest Moon, I think this is the game that is.
For sure.
You should play it. You should give it a chance.
And there's a lot of people that would stop into my stream and talk about, how much they love these types of games.
Yeah.
And I get that. I mean, it's done well. They've been releasing it since 2016 almost continuously. So like
they have merch.
Yeah, I mean they're continuously bringing out. I mean, this physical Switch edition just came out a couple months ago. Like they're still producing this game.
They have enamel pins that I really want. But the one I want the most is the little Joja Cola pin. It is so cute.
I like
and the Junimos.
I liked all the deluxe edition that they had.
That was super cute.
They had some like little wooden cutouts of some of the characters.
I couldn't,
and like a farm or whatever.
They had like a little deed to the farm. It was adorable. Yeah. I just could not justify paying the extra money just on something that I might end up destroying by accident.
No, I get it, but it's cute. If you're super into the game, obviously pick it up. But it goes down to, you need to be able to enjoy this kind of game to be able to enjoy it. Like, if it's not your kind of game, you're not going to enjoy it regardless of how you play. But if you like the kind of game that doesn't really have an ending, that you can just play for a little bit, put it down for a couple days, a couple weeks, a month, and then pick it up again and play for, a few days on and off, this is a perfect game for that.
Yeah.
And legitimately, I could see myself continuing to play.
Wow, so replay playability.
Just continuation.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff that I need to finish. I mean, Emily's still waiting for me, unlike Maria, who's still pregnant with my child in my Harvest Moon game.
I think that, I don't know, I put a lot of heart and soul in my first game. The only mod I used was to make my horse look like a ponyta, and I loved it. Oh my gosh. And I kind of wanted to continue that, but I had to start new for this game. But I don't know how I would have felt just continuing, I guess, because I got to redo the character. I got like a fresh start to say.
Yeah, and that's what I like about the podcast. Yeah. Like, it gives you this chance to replay it from the beginning and play it from a critical point of view instead of just playing it to play. Which, there's nothing wrong playing it to play, but for our purpose, it's nice to play with a critical thought behind it. But so my total was a 36 out of 50.
44 out of 50.
That is a 80 or an 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
We've been going to this different system, so we add up our scores together, and we cut it by we cut it by a 0 or a decimal point. Yeah. So instead of it being an 80 out of 100, it's an 8 out of 10.
It's the same concept.
So it's the same concept.
It sounds a little bit better saying 8 out of 10.
Yeah, and we're dropping the grade system, so there is no more ABCD. It's an 8 out of 10. Take that with however scale you want to put that to. But again, an 8 out of 10, that's a really good game. I mean, I feel like it's just. I mean, you loved it way more than I did, but I didn't have a bad time playing it.
Absolutely.
So, our next game that I'm playing on Twitch is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And we're going to be reviewing that with Brandon. He'll be coming back to review that with me. I don't think I can beat it in a month. Actually, I'm almost certain I'm not going to beat it in a month. So we'll probably pick up a small game to fill that time in between. I'm not really sure what we're going to play yet. It might be Gris. It might be
Scorpion Simulator.
It could be Scorpion. That would be Dung Beetle Simulator.
Oh my gosh. I would love that.
You would?
Katamari Damacy.
Oh yeah, Katamari Damacy. Yeah, that would be fun. Journey would be awesome. I've heard that that's a really good game. Man, there's a few. Transistor.
We need people to give suggestions.
Yeah. We really need a game that we can just, me and Kaylie can sit down for like
a day,
at most 5 hours, and be able to complete a game. And then we'll review it. So if you got some suggestions, please let us know. You can hit us up on any of our social media, or you can send us an email at zapnightgaming@gmail.com. So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.